Good morning. This hearing is called to order. This is the public hearing of the City Council Committee on Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, and the purpose of this public hearing is to hear testimony on Bill Number 170724. Bill Number 170673 is being held at the request of the sponsor. And I want to recognize the presence of a quorum of committee members. To my right, we have Councilman Curtis Jones Jr., Councilman Al Toggenberger, and Councilwoman Maria Quinones Sanchez. And do any of the committee members have opening remarks?
Yes. Yes, Madam Chair, and good morning.
Good morning.
We will be holding Bill number 170673 until some details are worked out about the bill.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Councilman. And we'll now have the clerk read the title of Bill Number 170724.
An ordinance amending Title 15 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Parks and Recreation by requiring the public posting of hours of operation for libraries and recreation centers, all under certain terms and conditions.
Okay, and if we could have the first witness come forward to testify.
Orlando Rendon, Deputy Commissioner of Programs, Philadelphia Department of Parks and Recreation.
Good morning.
Good morning. If you could state your name for the record and proceed with your
Orlando
testimony.
Rendon.
You can proceed with your testimony.
Good morning, Chairwoman Bass and committee members. My name is Orlando Rendon, and I am the Deputy Commissioner of Programs with Philadelphia Parks and Recreation. I appear before you today on behalf of the department in support of Bill Number 170724, sponsored by Councilwoman Bass. As proposed to be amended, the bill will authorize Philadelphia Parks and Recreation to issue rules and regulations for posting the program schedule and hours of operation and programming at recreation centers. Philadelphia's Park and Recreation manages over 150 recreation centers throughout the city of Philadelphia. These recreation centers provide a variety of programming for the surrounding communities, ranging from after-school and summer camps to exercise classes, and are adjacent to amenities like ball fields and skating rinks. Each center has their own programming schedule, which typically operates between the hours of 1:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the fall, winter, and spring, and from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the summer. Currently, operating hours and program schedules are posted inside each recreation center. This information is also listed on our website and social media accounts. Under the amendments to this bill, developed collaboratively between the Councilwoman's Office and Parks and Recreation and the Free Library, we will codify standards for posting of hours and schedule changes in regulation. As a result, we anticipate starting January 1st, 2018, we will post signage outside of recreation centers listing the hours of operation and general program schedule. We are grateful to Councilwoman Bass for introducing this bill and for working with our department to ensure Philadelphians are informed about our service offerings and our hours. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, thank you very much for your testimony, and we're so happy to have the support of the administration on this. And this was a bill that I offered in response to a number of different issues that we were having, not just in my district, but throughout the city of Philadelphia, yes, including an unfortunate incident at a rec center, which I'm not going to name, but in the Northwest, where there were some folks who were using a rec center who had the appropriate permits, and there were some other folks from the community who felt that they should have had access. And I think that something as simple as the posting would have made a difference to de-escalate the situation, which evolved and turned into something really, really ugly. Okay. And so just having information, I think, goes a long way to helping people understand, you know, when a center is available, when it's not available, who will be using it, and so forth. And so if I'm interested in taking, you know, a yoga class right now at a rec center in my neighborhood, I have absolutely no idea when it is, where it is, you know, what part of the building, what classroom, whatever, who's the instructor. And as much detail as possible, I think, would be very, very helpful. We had a conversation with Commissioner Ott Lovell, and had a great conversation about this particular matter, making sure that hours were posted, that activities were posted, particularly around the Lana Young incident, which most people are very familiar with. Over the summer, we had a gathering of young people who, felt that they, didn't know what was going on, didn't have information, didn't know what kind of activities were being offered, and when the gym would be available and things of that nature. Some really basic, simple facts.
Yes.
And so when she and I talked about a number of different things that we could bring to the table and offer remedies for that situation, this was one. It's a smaller one, but nonetheless, we think that it's an important one so that folks have, again, really basic information about what is available, what is happening, and that sort of thing. So I just really want to thank the administration for working with us on this.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
for being so understanding. So,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions by the committee? Councilwoman Sanchez?
Good morning, good morning. Is there any standard around what the signage is going to look like? Do we have a sample of what that's going to look like?
We do not right now have a sample of what the signage is going to look like, but we look forward to working with the administration to provide that, and we'll certainly circulate it to the committee and to all members for feedback.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Madam.
Councilman Jones, but before that, I want to recognize the presence of Councilman David O. Councilman Jones?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, thank you for bringing this issue to light. As I read your bill, I had two instances where this might have made a big difference. One was in the Bluebell section, and that's borders your district.
Yes.
And nice section of the park, and is sought after by a lot of people to have family reunions. And two different neighborhoods kind of converged at the same time, not knowing all the rules and regulations on permitting and things like that. And it caused a great deal of confusion, to say the least, and borderline chaos, to say the most. The second one is that there are sections within Philadelphia that have been in the park discovered by not only people from Philadelphia, but people from surrounding communities,
Yes.
Bucks County and Montgomery County. And that's fine. We want them to come in. But a lot of times the facilities are leased out way in advance.
Yes.
And the neighbors adjacent to those facilities have no clue as to when a
Right.
baseball
Right.
club is going to be there, and so Little League practices conflict with already permitted events. So I think this scheduling and making it public is a preventive measure
I agree.
to avoid conflict,
Yeah.
and I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Toggenburger, and also we want to recognize the presence of Councilwoman Cheryl Parker.
Madam Chair, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I would like to thank you for your leadership on the issue. I think
Thank
the
you.
idea, it makes a lot of sense. And in some ways, in reality, probably is really long overdue. I think it's just a great idea.
Thank you.
And I'm all for that. I do have one question, if it could be answered, and of course, the question was also, what would the signs look like? Is there any sense of the size of these signs, or?
Well, I believe a few months ago, we made it a standard practice to take programming schedules for permitted fields and for programming that occurs inside the rec center and have it on a board internally inside the rec center. We're looking to see if we can bring that out and perhaps using a plexiglass method on the door. So even if it's out of operating hours, anyone can come up to a center and see what's occurring at the center inside and out during day or night.
It would make a lot of sense, and the more people, and I know as a young person growing, when I was young at one time, growing up at near Jardel Rec, and we actually had a organized soccer team that actually played in a league. Most of the kids were from the neighborhood, but it was important, when we were on that soccer field, that for that time period, that was ours, and if you wanted to start a pickup game, it had to be afterwards. And we were always, very accommodating as well. You could challenge us, and then we'll play right then and there. But the fact is, I think more people know about it. It can prevent a lot of arguments.
And it was exactly for that purpose why we had
Yeah,
the programming
makes sense.
plans inside, so that people knew beforehand, before they said, well, could I apply for a permit for this particular field for this particular time? I already see that it's being utilized and I have to figure out a different schedule. So it was to avoid all those conflicts
Yeah, I think
as
it
well.
ends everything. I think just, it's great common
Yes.
sense. And Councilwoman Bass, thank you again.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Councilwoman Parker?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Bass, and I want to also note for the record that the solutions to some of our challenges are not as complex as some people would like to believe. This is simplicity, right? And although the schedules are usually posted inside, if you don't know, if you're new to the neighborhood, if you're trying to access services for your family, now in a very transparent, visible way, you will be able to know what those activities are. In addition to that, I am thinking about rebuild. And although we have a great demand, if all goes well and parks, rec centers, and libraries across the city of Philadelphia are renovated and new ones are built as we are proposing, I would dare say we're going to see an even greater demand for those services, and access to the what's, whens, and wheres is going to be extremely important. So Councilwoman Bass, thank you for your leadership on this issue. I know my people in the 9th District will benefit.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And any other comments, questions? Okay, all right. And so, and if there is no one else to testify on this bill,
There's one more. Library. Libraries are going to testify.
oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, can we have the next witness come forward to testify? I'm sorry.
Joe Benford, Deputy Commissioner of Program, I'm sorry. Yes, Joe Benford, Deputy Director for Customer Engagement, Free Library of Philadelphia.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record and begin your testimony.
It's Joe Benford, Deputy Director, Customer Engagement, Free Library of Philadelphia. Good morning, Councilwoman Bass and members of the Committee on Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. I'm here on behalf of Siobhan Reardon, President Director of the Free Library of Philadelphia, who was not able to appear today. We appreciate the opportunity to appear this morning to discuss Bill number 170724, which relates to the public posting of hours of operations for libraries. We agree with you about the importance of keeping our customers apprised of our hours and when they can take advantage of our myriad services, and support the bill as it is proposed to be amended. The Free Library currently posts its hours in front of every one of our 54 neighborhood locations. That signage changes twice a year, in the fall when we institute fall, winter, and spring hours, and in June when we post summer hours. We make every effort to post those signs 30 days in advance. Opening and closing hours are also available on our website, freelibrary.org, for every library and every day. Additionally, closures are shared with 311 on a daily basis in the event that customers call there. We make every effort to post signage in the event of an emergency closure, but that is not always possible. If there is police action or too much snow to access a library, for example, staff may not have an opportunity to post a sign. This information is communicated to 311 as soon as possible. When we expect a long-term closure, generally for a building issue, we follow these same procedures. Under Bill number 170724, the Free Library would issue regulations to codify a uniform policy across all branches regarding public notice of hours. We recognize that notice is important to the city and to each community, and therefore support this bill without reservation. I would also like to add that we notify the appropriate council members of unanticipated closures so that council offices can provide up-to-date information to constituents. We will also organize community meetings to give citizens an opportunity to ask questions and get additional information about longer closures. Thank you for your interest in the Free Library. I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, I want to thank you and the Free Library. We've had a number of issues around a building closure, in particular in my district, Joe Coleman Library.
Right.
And, you have reached out through a number of different ways, social media, public posting, things of that nature, to let folks know that Joe Coleman was going to be closed. And it's a very, very much used library. I'm just going to put a plug in and say we need a new one, and we'd love to work with you all on that. But,
right.
as we move forward, just want to thank you all for the work that you've done around the posting already, and it's much appreciated by our constituents. So,
Great.
any other questions from members of the committee? No? Okay. All right, well, thank you very much for your
Thank you.
testimony. And is there anyone else here to testify? Stephanie? Okay, seeing that there is none, this concludes the public hearing on Bill Number 170464, and we'll now go into a public meeting to consider the action to be taken on this bill. And I want to recognize Councilmember Jones for a motion to amend Bill Number 170724.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the amendment, which was circulated to all members on Bill Number 170724, be adopted.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the amendment just circulated be adopted. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jones for a motion on Bill Number 170724 as amended.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. I move that Bill Number 170724 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at our next session of council.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that Bill Number 170724 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. All those in favor of this motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, and the motion carries, and Bill Number 170724, as amended, will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation with a request that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading at the next session of council. And this concludes the public meeting on this bill. There being no further business before the Committee on Parks and Recreation and Cultural Affairs, we want to thank you all very much for your attendance. Thank you.